The cheaters and best part two, how easy it actually is to steal an opponent's signs. In today's video, I will provide you with a step-by-step guide of how easy it actually is for Michigan and other schools in college football to steal, or the word that I like to use, procure their opponent's sideline signals. All right, so in the first Cheaters and Best video, I broke down the alleged NCAA violation and how it is being interpreted in sports media, while at the same time trying to shine a light on the actual NCAA rule and a potential gray area or a loophole in which Michigan staffer analyst Connor Stalions might have been operating within. If you have yet to watch the first video, go back and watch the first video, and then you can begin to connect the dots. Now, last week, the Washington Post reported that Connor Stalions planned to send scouts to more than 40 games featuring 10 opponents this season at a cost of more than $15,000. Now, scouts, okay? When they say scouts, these aren't necessarily people that are actual football scouts. In fact, the Washington Post article, when this was reported, the person that they had interviewed that said that they took a couple $100 to record for Connor Stalions said that it was cold and rainy and they were able to get maybe a half of football for Connor Stalions. And this person was not a scout. They admitted that they had no dog in the fight and no affiliation with the University of Michigan whatsoever. So I do want to get that out there. In today's video, I'm going to break down in detail how easy the actual process is of stealing an opponent's signs. So this past Saturday, I decided to scout the Penn State Indiana matchup. I wanted to first use the TV copy in real time to ID the sideline personnel that I needed to be watching to get the signals. I then shared it in real time on the Football Scout 365 Twitter account in an effort to show people how easy this process actually is. So step number one, we need to find someone to record at the actual event that we are looking at on the TV copy. So I asked on Twitter and someone responded within minutes. I asked them to DM me any clips that they can get of the sideline personnel and to pan out between each play to show the scoreboard, making this easier for me to marry the time of the game to the TV copy and the all 22 down the line when we get to that step. Step number two, I need to ID the signaler so that I can either DM the volunteer on site to make sure that they are at least panning in that direction of the potential live signalers that I believe need to be focused on. It's always important to look for the colors that stand out on the sidelines. And in this instance, I'm immediately drawn to the green hat guy. He is the easiest to see. He's the closest to James Franklin at the time of this recording, but he also is grouped with three additional other signalers as well. So when recording or clipping these signs, either from the TV copy or the all 22, or someone that happens to be recording at said stadium, I need to be able to get all the signalers in the frame just in case we miss one, or maybe they have somebody spaced out a little bit wider that we're not paying attention to. So it's important to do that. Step number three, I need to be able to download the clips of the actual play and then the time of the game that we can match up to the TV copy. And that's pretty much it. Once we do this for all video received, we can timestamp them and add the time of the game, add maybe even a play number so that whoever, let's just say we act as a third-party video provider for Ohio State or Michigan, we can send them these clips and they can fill in the blanks with whatever they have from their TV copy, and then they can review that on their end and marry things together themselves as well. So why do this in the first place? If you are Connor Stalions at Michigan, for example, the recording aspect of this in stadium, it's going to save him time. It's going to give him a much larger data set to ID signs and play calling tendencies. The truth is that the entire process, starting with the three steps that I just covered being the base of the entire data set, it goes a lot deeper than this. For example, once I send that material to the analyst working at a school or another third-party company that's going to recreate this in some way, that analyst or set of analysts will be tasked with filling in the plays we did not collect if they can. And then they have to enter all of the material into whatever storage database that they employ before they begin to decipher the signals and ID the play patterns, while also figuring out the live signalers and if the live signaler changes by quarter, half, or at all. A process like this for one individual could take 80 hours in a given week to complete. And even then, you might not get the entire game's worth of signals. The other aspect to consider in all of this, and it's already been mentioned by some insiders that have covered this situation, analysts, they will reach out to one another through back channels to trade information like this. A lot of times it's going to be without the knowledge of the actual on-field coaching staff. Obviously, whether legal or illegal or however this is going to be interpreted at the end of the day, coaches, they never want to share anything with other coaches, especially within their own conference, teams that are considered common opponents. But it does happen. And you have to remember, these analysts are often overworked and underpaid. So, one other aspect that I do want to share is that there are actual exchanges usually shared among coaches in the industry on a Google Drive or something similar. And it is generally a lot of high school coaches and lower level college coaches that attend football clinics and team practices of college and NFL teams out there that are recording things happening at these events. So there's a wealth of old and new practice tape and high level clinic analysis in these forums. A few years back, I attended a Glazer clinic. I think it was ahead of the pandemic in early 2020. And it was Ohio State assistant coach Keenan Bailey. He did a presentation on Ohio State wide receivers, and he provided a ton of practice tape in that clinic that was about an hour long. And I can go to the Glazer website right now and I can watch that again if I wanted to. I could screen record it and I could use it, for whatever I want to use it for, to coach my team up, my receiving group up, to show it to the defensive coordinator on what to look for example. So that's what a lot of coaches do in the offseason is they search for any and every possible advantage that they can find. A lot of times they're going to send out interns and analysts to dig into these clinics and find any and every possible piece of info that might be helpful. So, all right, tell me what you think. I asked on part one here if you believe Michigan deserves college football's equivalent of the death penalty. And I want to ask you again, do they deserve to get the hammer from the NCAA? That's going to do it for today's episode. I do want to say thank you for watching. Please like the video, please comment, and please subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more great content.